If there's one character in the world of One Piece that fans have been wanting to see more of, it would be red-haired Shanks, captain of the Red Hair Pirates, one of the 4 emperors and Luffy's inspiration for being a pirate. Of course, despite Shanks being such an important character in One Piece lore, we don't know much about him. He was introduced back in Chapter 1, but there's still a lot we don't know about him. Pretty much every time Shanks shows up, you know something incredible is about to go down. Whether it's at the end of Marineford or more recently in Wano's epilogue. Of course, these appearances are short and only reveal a little bit about him each time. But the latest One Piece movie, One Piece Film Red, has given us the most Shanks content in years. So get ready, because we're gonna talk all about Shanks and more specifically what his role is in Film Red. This video will be spoiling parts of One Piece Film Red. If you haven't seen it yet, we highly recommend you watch it yourself. Now, to start things off, let's answer one of the big questions everyone has been having about this movie. Is it canon? Well, that's a bit complicated. It's both canon and non-canon at the same time. Basically, aspects of it are canon, but not the whole thing. It's a similar situation to One Piece film Strong World. That manga tells us that Shiki is a canonical character and that he has even escaped from Impel Down. But the events of Strong World have never been confirmed as canon. Although Shiki has at least got an entire prequel one-shot about his backstory. So far, Uta's only canon appearance is her silhouette at the end of a series of flashbacks in chapter 1055. But Uta is a fairly important character. She's Luffy's childhood friend and Shanks' adoptive daughter, so perhaps we'll see more of her in the future. So in other words, Uta is canon, but the events of the movie probably aren't. But that doesn't mean that what we see Shanks do in this movie doesn't count. After all, Film Red was created to celebrate the 25th anniversary of One Piece, and series creator Ichiro Oda was heavily involved. So we can use what we see Shanks do in this movie to gauge what his strength is like. With all that out of the way, let's talk about Shanks' role in Film Red. While Shanks is important to the plot of Film Red, he doesn't show up until about halfway in, when Uta's plan is already well underway and the Marines have shown up to confront her. But if there's one thing we know about Shanks, it's that when he shows up, things are about to get serious. After all, this is the man who stopped the war at Marineford just by showing up. The reason he shows up at Elegia is to try and explain things to Uta, since they don't exactly leave on good terms. Of course, that's a bit difficult since the Marines are currently attacking Uta. Shanks and his crew have several powerful opponents to deal with. First, there's Uta and her musical powers, and then there's Marines including 2 admirals, Kizaru and Fujitora. Here we see that Shanks is actually able to hold his own against Kizaru in a short clash between them. It's not a full-on fight, but the fact that Shanks and Kizaru seem to be evenly matched is impressive. After all, Kizaru more or less defeated all of the Worst Generation during the Subudi Archipelago arc. Plus, at the end of the movie, Shanks unleashes a powerful burst of Conqueror's Haki, which takes out almost all of the Marines there. Even a few Vice Admirals. Kizaru is able to resist and seems impressed with Shanks' Haki. The fact that Kizaru resists Shanks' Haki while being right next to him also gives us an idea of how strong he is. Remember, at the end of the Wano arc, Admiral Ryukugyu was affected by a blast of Shanks' Haki from several miles away, and even though Ryukugyu stayed conscious, he was still forced to surrender and flee. So we can safely guess that Shanks is about on par with Kizaru and possibly stronger than Ryukugyu. Back to the movie. The biggest feats of Shanks and his crew probably came during the final battle against the demonic Tot Musica. For the first time ever, we get to see the Red Hair Pirates fighting alongside the Straw Hats. The standout moment during this team-up has got to be the Usopp finally getting to see his father, Yasopp, and the 2 of them using their observation Haki to fight together. Oda's gonna have to try real hard to make it just as impactful when these 2 finally meet in the manga. This is also the first time we ever see Luffy and Shanks fighting side by side, something that One Piece fans had been waiting literally decades for. Of course, the 2 of them were too busy fighting to talk to each other, so hopefully when they meet in the manga, they'll meet under less stressful circumstances. Some interesting content about Shanks has also been revealed in the promotional material for the movie. Released alongside the movie was a booklet called The Chronicle of Uta, which includes supplementary material about Uta and Shanks. and what it reveals about Shanks in particular is very interesting. It doesn't go into much detail, but it's revealed how Shanks joined the Roger Pirates back in the day. According to the book, Shanks was actually found by Roger Pirates as a baby in the aftermath of the God Valley incident. Now, this is important for a number of reasons. The God Valley incident is a recent mystery introduced to the One Piece world that hasn't been elaborated on much. We don't know the specifics of what happened, but we do know the general idea. Years before the main events of the series, Gol D. Roger and Monkey D. Garp teamed up together in order to battle the Rocks pirates on the island of God Valley. This led to the death of Rox D. Xebec and the Rocks pirates disbanding. But what's even more interesting is that God Valley completely disappeared after the battle. Of course, knowing what happened to O'Hara and, more recently, Lulusia, it's possible the world government was involved. Shanks being present at God Valley also supports a popular fan theory that Shanks used to be a celestial dragon. The reason that the Rocks pirates invaded God Valley in the first place was because of a group of celestial dragons and their slaves were there. So it's possible that Shanks was either a celestial dragon or a slave before being found out by Roger. Being connected to the celestial dragons would also explain how Shanks was able to get a private audience with the 5 Elder Stars. If you remember, during the Reverie, Shanks was seen talking to the Elders about a certain pirate, widely speculated to be either Luffy or Blackbeard. But whatever the case, the fact that he talked to the Elder Stars at all is a big deal. Not just anyone could do that, especially not a pirate. Film Red may have given us a family name for Shanks. It's a quick, easy-to-miss scene, but it's there. In One Piece's Film Red, we get a scene of the 5 Elder Stars discussing Uta, and they say she might be connected to the Figureland family. The reason they suspect this is because she thinks she is Shanks' daughter, which implies that Shanks is part of the Figureland family. The fact that the Elder Stars put so much emphasis on the family does support the idea that Shanks is somehow connected to the Celestial Dragons. If this is true, Shanks wouldn't be the first Celestial Dragon to become a pirate. Just look at Doflamingo. Of course, this new info about Shanks' family name is easy to dismiss as a non-canon, since it was revealed in a movie. But you've got to keep in mind, canon information has been revealed in films before the actual manga before. For example, One Piece film Z showed us the first post-time skip appearance of Kuzan and revealed that he'd lost a leg during his battle with Admiral Akainu, which the manga later would confirm is canon. So, Shanks being found at God Valley and being named Figureland may later be confirmed in the manga. Whatever the case, Film Red has given us some interesting glimpses into Shanks and the Red Hair Pirates. Overall, One Piece Film Red was a fantastic film with epic fights, fantastic animation, and beautiful music. And while the center of the movie is Uta, we got to learn a whole lot about Shanks in terms of both his strength and backstory. Seriously, you should check it out if you haven't already. It absolutely lives up to the hype. After all, it was made for One Piece's 25th anniversary, so it had a lot of effort put into it. So what do you think about Shanks, and will we learn anything else about him soon?